Righty. Good afternoon, everyone. Due to the pandemic, members of the RAMCO board are participating virtually. All members will vote by roll call. A member will be recognized, at which time the member will state his or her vote, and I will call the roll. Lisa Saunders, myself, I'm president of RAMCO. Ben Rao.
Here.
Kelly Latham.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Okay, I am going to share my screen for the presentation. Okay, can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, so the first slide we'll look at, and so today's agenda is it's a short agenda, but we need to elect officers. We're going to review the financial statements for June 30, 2021. We're going to go into closed session and we're going to discuss claims, and then we'll come back into open session and discuss the history and the future of RAMCO. So with that, I will go over to the election of officers. The slate of officers for election are Lisa M. Saunders, President, Ben Rao, Vice President, Kelly Latham, Secretary Treasurer, Denise Adams, Director, and Robert Clark, Director. Do I have a motion to elect the slate of officers?
Motion to approve. Second, Clark.
Okay, I'll do a roll call. Ben Rao?
Yes.
Kelly Latham?
Yes.
Denise Adams?
Yes.
Robert Clark?
Yes.
And Lisa Saunders, myself, yes. So that's been approved, and this is to be the slate of officers for this fiscal year. Next, and I know some of this is really hard to see, so I'll do my best in this presentation to expand if we need to. Doing financial statements in PowerPoint doesn't always work so well, but the first statement you're going to look at is risk acceptance management's balance sheet. You can see that at the end of June 30, 21, we had $53,848,964 in cash and investments. We had a small accounts payable at the end of the year of $67,000. We had reserve for unsettled claims. Those are all of our reserves outstanding, and we'll talk about a few of those more in closed session later, of $2.8 million. Our excess claims reserve is where we set aside money that the city has set aside with RAMCO to pay claims that exceed $1 million up until $3 million. And our total unrestricted, or basically our fund balance, is $44 million.
Lisa, can I ask a question there?
Yes, sir.
The reserves, and I serve on a bank board, and we have the same kind of reserves for losses. Are they calculated mathematically with some formula, or is it our analysis of potential claims and with numbers beside them?
It is actually our analysis of what we potentially or probably could claim. So yes, it's our analysis of what.
Our attorney, if that's the case, could someone not subpoena this and say, well, the city's already assumed they're going to pay X amount of money on this claim? Could that be used as an admission of guilt, I guess?
I don't know that it's an admission of guilt, but it certainly is appropriate for the RAMCO to set aside a potential possibility for having to resolve the case either through settlement or court. Setting aside, I think it's good business practice. It's not necessarily a admission of guilt. You've got to be prepared if you potentially have to pay something by a court order.
Do it at a bank level, but we do it as a percent of loans. Now, I don't know what we would do here, but anyway, That's all. Thank you.
And it's really more of an accounting standard that requires us to look at all of our liabilities potentially and what could be probable that we could pay out. Is what we have to set aside.
Yep. Okay.
Quite often they will ask me
you do it.
I was going to say, quite often they will ask me, worst case scenario, what is the potential of payout? And I'll analyze the case and say potentially this, although we may deny or refute or disagree with the allegations.
Thank you.
Okay. Next statement is our consolidated statement of activities, or what you would normally think of as a net income statement. So the basic annual fee in 21 that came from the city to RAMCO was $1,130,735. And if you remember, we council voted in 2022 to not, and RAMCO board agreed to not make a payment in 2022, just as a reminder. Claims and administrative expenses were 3 million compared to 1.3. We'll talk about this more in closed session, but that was because of a large claim that we accrued. This statement is done on an accrual basis, not a cash basis. Healthcare insurance claims, that's where we pay what is referred to as stop loss. So our health benefit fund in the city pays for claims up to $250,000, and anything more than $250,000, RAMCO carries an excess claims reserve. So that was $286,000. Our investment income, obviously our returns were really, really good last year. We were right at a little more than $12 million in investment returns, which brings our net position again to $44 million.
Okay.
I'm not going to review this. This is really just the cash ins of out. So the really what you need to know is the other two statements. And with that, I'm going to turn over to Julie Carter. Julie is the interim risk manager. Julie has been the assistant risk manager for, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years now. So she's over the workers' comp staff, the employee safety staff, and the claims adjuster. So she's very familiar with the claims, and so she will present the next couple of slides. And Julie, just tell me, and I'll flip through them as we go through them. Okay.
Before we start,
Yes.
are we getting into actual?
Thank you, Angela. Thank you. I was on a roll. Yes, thank you. We do need a motion to go into closed session, and let me first read the statement. And I'll make the motion if I can get a second. I move that RAMCO board go into closed session pursuant to GS statute 143-318.11A3 to consult with and provide direction to the city attorney regarding the settlement of claims and to preserve the attorney-client privilege. Can I get a second?
Second.
And I'll do a roll call. For all in favor, Ben Rao,
Yes.
Kelly Latham,
Yes.
Denise Adams,
Yes.
Robert Clark,
Yes.
and that motion carries. Now we are in closed session, and Julie. Thank you. Can I have a motion?
Take your screen down, Lisa.
Thank you, Angela. Thanks. Can I have a motion to close the closed session?
Move for approval.
Second.
Roll call, Ben Rao,
Yes.
Kelly Latham,
Yes.
Denise Adams,
Yes.
Robert Clark,
Yes.
and Lisa Saunders, myself. Okay, let me go back and open my file back up. Sorry. I got rid of everything.
Lisa, I was trying to spread the gallery view and I don't know if I hit something. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I did. I did. I got a little bit too big of a hurry. Okay. So let me get down to the next. Okay.
Hurry up, hurry up.
Yep, thanks, sorry. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is to talk about the history and the future of RAMCO. So just a little background information on RAMCO. So RAMCO was created in 1988 in response to the insurance crisis for local governments at that point in time. And previous to RAMCO, we actually were involved, we were in a risk management pool with other local governments to purchase our insurance. But as I said, it got really expensive back in the 1980s. So RAMCO was created to provide a funding vehicle to pay claims for the city of Winston-Salem. RAMCO borrowed $15 million to establish a reserve, and the security for that $15 million debt was annual payments from the city of Winston-Salem to RAMCO. And it's important to note that at that point in time, RAMCO was a completely separate nonprofit entity. It was not blended on the city of Winston-Salem's financial statements. It had its own financial statements. And you'll see as we go through the presentation that many things have changed in the accounting rules and the tax rules that have over time have changed that situation between the city and RAMCO. As I said, financial reporting, RAMCO is a legal separate entity, and until 1990 was not included in the city of Winston-Salem audited financial statement. Today, it is actually a blended component unit, and it is shown as an internal service fund within the city of Winston-Salem's financial statements. For tax reporting, RAMCO is a 501c3 corporation, and it is required to file a tax return with IRS. Originally, it was a very simple return. After 9/11, the IRS changed reporting requirements, and we engaged an audit firm to actually file the tax return for us, our current audit firm. The IRS requirements continue in complexity to today. Board member salaries, this group salaries, are disclosed in the tax return. And so as we looked at the situation and we talked about filing of the tax return, we actually had a bond attorney look at it for us and felt comfortable, since this was a blended component unit of the city of Winston-Salem, that probably we could get an exemption and not file the return anymore. It had that success with many other entities, but did not with us. We filed an exemption and it was denied. So the question becomes, do we need RAMCO as a separate operating entity? The operating memorandum between RAMCO and the city was a 30-year agreement. It ended in 2018. We have continued to annually renew the agreement every year between the city and RAMCO. As I mentioned before, RAMCO is blended into the city's financial statements. If you read the Articles of Incorporation, it states that upon dissolution of the corporation, any remaining assets shall be distributed back to the city of Winston-Salem. So what if we eliminate RAMCO? What are the pros and what are the cons? By eliminating RAMCO, we eliminate the duplication of accounting system and records. RAMCO's treated totally independently from the accounting system, check writing. We have a separate audit. We have separate tax fees. We engage a separate investment manager to manage the investments of RAMCO. If we eliminate RAMCO, those investments will be pooled with the city, like any other fund with the city, and invested. And it will just streamline the business process. What's required to dissolve RAMCO? What's required is a unanimous written consent of the RAMCO Board of Directors. Once this board decides that that's the intent, we would have that. Then we would go through the process of publishing the paper, filing it with Secretary of State, and then filing a final 990 with the IRS. If we decide RAMCO to be dissolved, our recommendation would be to create a risk management task force, something very similar to what we do with the healthcare task force, where we would have an internal oversight, basically, of reviewing all of our reserves for general auto liability, workers' comp, and as I said, something very similar to what we currently do with the healthcare task force. And so with that, I will open it up for questions that anybody has, and just if everyone saw the benefit of doing this, we could have a motion and pass to do it, and I could follow up with a resolution to be signed. But I'm really interested in just hearing from other board members if they would be in favor of dissolving RAMCO or just some general conversation.
Lisa, I'll offer a few comments. Wouldn't it be clean to do it at the end of a year so we don't have to file a partial returns for a year?
I think it would. I don't think it needs to be a fiscal year. I think it would be clean to do it at the end of a month. So we could do it, for example, at the end of this calendar year, December 31. I mean, if we voted today to dissolve RAMCO, we could file everything by the 31st and end it on a calendar year basis. But I think it's just important to do it, especially for transferring assets. It'd be important to do it on a month end.
Okay. The other thing, and by the way, I think it's a good idea. I've wondered about this for years. But I do think we need on the other side, and Ben, I guess this would come maybe through finance. I would recommend that the monies that are transferred over go into a insurance fund or whatever you want to call it, one of the many funds that we have in the city, and that we designate the earnings from that to pay the claims. I would think with the amount of money we're talking about, we might, and this is more of a question, we might be able to eliminate the city's annual payment.
We have, and in fiscal 22, we actually did eliminate the city's annual payment. So currently, Councilmember Clark, this is an internal service fund. That's why I'm saying it really already functions like a city fund. We blended in at the end of the year. So it's actually shown on the same statement in the financial report as the workers' comp fund, the healthcare fund, and it says today RAMCO, but we might call it the risk management fund if we put it into the city. And it would, it would need to go, even though City Council does not have to approve this, this can be done by an action by the board of RAMCO. I would think we would do a budget amendment and include it in if we did it before, or we could just do it with the FY23 budget. However we decide
but
to do it, either way would be fine.
The city council would have to set up this new task force.
No. Well, Lee, I might let you say that, but the healthcare task force is an administrative function under the city manager. So I would think this one.
But it's got to be done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Chairman Clark and Mayor Pro Tem Adams. We did the healthcare task force just administratively.
Okay.
It might be better if we just keep it that way. So this works well, and I'd hate to have 7 other council members on it if we could avoid it.
Yeah. Okay.
Lisa?
Yes, sir.
Do our financial policies include RAMCO? I mean, would we want to amend our financial policies to,
we could. Now, we probably should be, and now that you said that, our financial policies don't actually include every fund that the city has, but I think it would be appropriate to include RAMCO and adopt some formal guidelines for RAMCO, and the use and what we think the minimum fund balance should be, and those kind of things. I will say that as of today, my cash flow projection really has investment income covering most of the claims expense going forward. So hopefully the city wouldn't be contributed to this fund. It would just be there to pay the claims.
Yeah. Because we're talking about $44 million approximately.
We're actually talking about 55 million.
Yeah.
In cash. Well,
That's true.
We have the liabilities, but it's 55 million in cash today.
And of that, we'll be paying all these liabilities as they come, and others will come.
That's correct. That's correct.
I have no problem with it.
Okay. Would everybody on the call, we feel comfortable, go ahead and making a motion today to dissolve RAMCO and following up with a resolution?
Yes.
I'm good. I move
Okay.
forward. I move that we move forward with the resolution to dismantle this board and
Okay.
roll it over to a similar task force.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Okay. And I will do a roll call again. Ben Rao,
Yes.
Kelly Latham,
Yes.
Denise Adams,
Yes.
Robert Clark,
Yes.
and Lisa Saunders, myself, yes. Thank you. So I will have, just so you know, I will have 2 hard copy resolutions that I will circulate to have board members sign. One will be the election of officers that we did, and the second one will be a resolution to dissolve RAMCO that I'll have everyone sign. So we will work on getting that done over the next few days. Does anybody have any other business that we should talk about today? If not,
I gotta go take director of RAMCO off my resume now.
oh no. Okay. Then
All
we'll
right.
have everybody else. It's adjourned, and happy holidays if I don't see you before Christmas.
Lisa, thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Happy
Thank
holiday.
you. Thank you, you too.